There are robots for picking the strawberries.
Oh, was? Halt's Maul. Nein, 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 nein. Was? Bro, aber ich schwöre, das sieht alles so juicy aus, ne? Wenn man sowas sieht, dann müssten wir ja eigentlich in 10, 15 Jahren alle in einem Paradies leben, oder? Das wollte ich mir anschauen. Dyson mit der vertikalen Landwirtschaft. Bro, das finde ich so toll.
State of the art in automated vertical.
Das ist doch der Wahnsinn, oder? Dyson baut vertikale Farmen.
Farming. In this facility owned by Dyson Farms in Carrington in the UK, over 1 million strawberry plants are grown inside on 24 meter long, 5.5.
Wieso macht Dyson das überhaupt? Die sehen so saftig aus, die würde ich direkt essen. Dyson macht Staubsauger, dann machen sie Kopfhörer und dann machen sie vertikale Farmen in der Landwirtschaft?
5 meter tall, 500 kilogram rotating rigs. This ingenious moving design means that each plant gets frequent and regular
das ist so satisfying.
access to natural sunlight, reducing the amount of additional light that has to be supplied artificially. Oh, and nearly everything in this greenhouse is automated.
Oh.
There are robots for picking the strawberries.
Oh, was? Halt's Maul. Nein, 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 nein. Was?
There are robots for picking the strawberries and UV emitting systems to kill mold growing on plants.
Oh mein Gott.
There are even robots that release live insects into the greenhouse to kill aphids and other pests.
Bald Geburtstag.
The result? Dyson claims their facility is capable of producing 2.5 times the yield of a conventional greenhouse. That's 1,250 tons of strawberries each year. But why does Dyson believe their solution will succeed? In recent years, vertical farming has been hit by a wave of high-profile failures, leading to some to question whether the concept even makes economic sense at all. In this video, we'll take a look at what Dyson is doing differently, and why they think that technology is the future of farming. I'm Luke, and you're watching
Hello, Luke.
The name Dyson, especially if you're British, is more likely to conjure images of expensive vacuum cleaners than high-tech farms. And rightly so, Dyson Farming is in fact the brainchild of James Dyson, the same inventor
ist ja ein Atze, ne?
who brought us the bagless vacuum cleaner and the bladeless fan. Dyson spent time on farms in his youth in North Norfolk,
So, ich übersetze Untertitel für euch automatisch. Warte kurz.
which sparked a lifelong passion for the countryside and agriculture. He began buying farmlands in 2013, starting with the Knoxon estate in Lincolnshire, which he expanded to 28,000 acres. As of 2025, Dyson's become one of England's largest landowners, owning around 35,000 acres across Lincolnshire, Oxfordshire, West Berkshire, Somerset and Gloucestershire. This land is used to use a whole range of products, ranging from traditional crops like potatoes and peas to energy crops and meats like beef and lamb. In 2022, Dyson was even Britain's biggest pea grower. To be clear, Dyson Farming operates separately from Dyson's consumer technology business, Dyson Limited, and instead sits within James Dyson's wider portfolio of private companies. That being said though, Dyson Farming is increasingly working with the engineers at Dyson Technology to bring innovation into farming. Oh, and Dyson Farming does supply the food served in the Dyson Technology cafeteria. The bit I want to focus on in this video though is the unique perspective that Dyson's brought to his farming operations. After all, at heart, he's a designer, not a farmer. And the strawberry farm at Carrington is...
Bro, ich schwöre, ihn finde ich so cool, ne? Bro, er sitzt da und designt und engineert irgendwas und dann baut er es einfach.
a great example of this. By combining sustainable practices with
Oh, die sehen so lecker aus.
innovation, they're building food systems that are not just more efficient, but built to last. But tech's not a one-size-fits-all solution to all of our problems. Vertical farming, the concept of growing crops in stacked layers within urban environments, rose to prominence in the early 2010s, driven by hopes it could solve challenges around food security, sustainability, and land use. By the height of the coronavirus pandemic, it was as if vertical farms were going to be the next big thing. Investment into the industry boomed. Startups like AeroFarms and Plenty attract significant backing, the former raising almost $1 billion. But then things started going downhill. Both the companies just mentioned have since filed for bankruptcy, and many have followed the same path. The reason for these failures can be put down to a number of different causes, and the first of these is cost. It may seem trivial, but a big drawback of fully closed-loop indoor systems is that they don't make use of resources that the earth provides for free. The consequence of crops growing on top of each other is shadow, and so artificial lighting is needed, requiring energy. In conventional open field farming and greenhouses, this light is of course provided by the sun, free of charge.
Aber ja, eigentlich krass, das stimmt schon. Die Pflanzen, die man halt einfach in die Erde reinpflanzt, die saugen einfach ihre Mineralien aus der Erde raus, ne?
The same argument can be made too for rainwater. Combine this with rising energy, as well as rising interest rates, and it's easy to see why some of these companies are struggling financially. According to Wired, EU energy prices rose 58% between December 2020 and July 2022, increasing electricity's share of costs for European farms from 25% to around 40%. Employment costs for high-tech indoor farms are also higher, since skilled robotics and software engineers tend to demand higher wages than seasonal workers like fruit pickers, and even qualified agronomists. In an industry where profit margins are slim as it is, these overheads are just not sustainable. As well as these factors, many startups have just made poor business decisions. This even comes down to simple things like what crops to grow. Some vertical farms have failed because they focused on growing crops that were either too low value to justify the high production costs, or too difficult to cultivate efficiently in controlled environments. Really though, many of these companies just scaled too fast. Fully indoor warehouse farms are highly capital intensive, and several players attempted rapid national expansion without first demonstrating.
Bro, aber ich schwöre, das sieht alles so juicy aus, ne?
Commercial viability. Combined with investors' growing focus on quicker returns, many lost the backing before they could even reach profitability. In business, this stage is often referred to as the Valley of Death, the precarious phase where early-stage companies burn through capital faster than they can generate sustainable revenues.
Ui.
And it's here.
Da bin ich. Aber ich bin hier mit meiner Firma bin ich halt jetzt seit 7,5 Jahren.
Perished. Vertical farming's popularity trajectory.
Ich bin irgendwie nicht rausgekommen.
Is a textbook example of what's known as a hype cycle. A hype cycle, popularized by Gartner Incorporated, describes the typical journey of new technologies through phases of inflated expectations, inevitable disillusionment, and eventual practical adoption. It seems that with vertical farming, we're now finally moving towards this latter stage, and Dyson's solution seems somewhat more mature than other concepts. Let's be clear though about what exactly we mean by a vertical farm. Dyson's strawberry farm fits this description in the sense that plants are housed on multiple levels, but the
müssen jetzt
system
aufhören, mir leckere Erdbeeren zu zeigen.
sits somewhere between a
Noch eine leckere Erdbeere und ich hole mir mein Trüffrü aus dem Tiefkühlschrank.
greenhouse and a fully indoor warehouse farm with no natural light. And herein lies the beauty of the concept. Whilst artificially lit indoor farms are still trying to get off the ground, greenhouses of course have a proven track record. The Netherlands, for example, the world's second largest agricultural exporter, relies heavily on greenhouses for large-scale reliable production. Greenhouses not only provide access to free light from the sun, they also trap
Base Pepper da für die
heat from the sunlight, maintaining warmer temperatures at no extra heating cost. At Dyson's farm, strawberry plants
Ich schwöre, das sieht so krass
rotate
aus.
on these massive aluminium rigs, ensuring each gets equal time at the top where there's maximum sun exposure. And so by using a greenhouse, Dyson can meet much of their heating and lighting needs for free.
Boah. Jetzt haben sie mich, Alter. Jetzt hole ich sie mir. Hier, Leute. Ein paar kleine, leckere Trüffrü-Erdbeeren. Ich glaube, diese 4 Erdbeeren kosten 3 Euro. Weil Trüffrü so überteuert ist.
Even rainwater is captured via the 760 meter long glasshouse roof and is then stored
Ich muss
in
aber
a
warten, bis es ein bisschen
lagoon
wärmer
for
sind.
plant irrigation. That said, the Carrington greenhouses still need extra energy for heating and lighting, especially in winter. But they have got a solution for that too. On the same site as their strawberry facility, Dyson also operates this big vat known as an anaerobic digester.
Huh?
In this process, Dyson's own energy crops like maize as well as waste crops are broken down by microorganisms to produce biogas. This biogas can then be used just like natural gas to produce electricity. A common and increasingly spoken about criticism of conventional greenhouses is their carbon footprint. Yes, they offer higher yields, lower costs, and enable local production, but the emissions can be surprisingly high. Take this example from forkranger.com. Green beans grown locally in heated Dutch greenhouses can have nearly 3 times the emissions of beans imported to the Netherlands.
Okay, aber warum? Ich habe nicht ganz verstanden, warum die Biogas benutzen zur Energiegewinnung. Das habe ich nicht verstanden. Also Biogas ist ja jetzt nicht so krass und das musst du ja auch extra anpflanzen quasi. Eigene Produktion. Ja, aber dann stellt doch ein Windkraftwerk hin und benutzt eine Wärmepumpe oder irgendwie. Checkt, also das ist doch viel effizienter, oder nicht? Wenn du doch eh schon alles selber machen willst.
From Senegal or Spain by boat or truck.
Aber ich meine, die werden es besser wissen. Was die da gebaut haben, ist geisteskrank. Also die werden schon irgendeinen Grund haben. Aber ich wüsste den gerne. Abfälle von den Erdbeerpflanzen. Aber die Abfälle von den Erdbeerpflanzen reichen, um das ganze Ding zu heizen?
Isn't always better. And greenhouses don't just need heating and lighting inputs. Many also pump in extra carbon dioxide to boost plant growth, since it's needed for photosynthesis, the process in which plants convert light into energy. At Dyson's farm, the electricity for the greenhouses comes from the biogas from the anaerobic digester. Enough to power the lights in the greenhouse, and around 10,000 nearby homes.
Oh.
Some of that biogas even fuels the farm's tractors and lorries. And it doesn't end there. Otherwise wasted heat and carbon dioxide.
Gas-powered generator produce energy and heat. Check. Excess heat, dries grain, passt. Und sonst geht's in die Häuser rein und in die Lichter. Heat geht hier auch rein. Organic Matter for Fertilizer. Energy Crops and Waste Crops. Okay, Waste Crops. Die nutzen die Waste Crops, den Abfall. Der geht hier rein. Und die pflanzen selber noch an, um das da rein zu tun. Beispiel für Farming Vehicles. Check. Der Rest geht hier rein. Bisschen Hitze. Nee. CO2 for Glasshouse.
Oxide from the anaerobic digesters are captured and piped straight into the greenhouse. This creates a perfect growing environment with no extra inputs required. A recent study found that Swiss greenhouses using waste heat in this way were able to achieve emissions nearly as low as those in warmer countries like Italy or Spain, avoiding the problem mentioned previously. This is encouraging as imports from these drier regions in southern Europe and Africa often have much higher water footprints than food grown in northern wetter regions. And so this finally makes locally grown produce much more justifiable from an environmental point of view. Finally, it's worth mentioning that the digestate, the nutrient-rich semi-solid material left over after anaerobic digestion, is usually used as fertilizer for other Dyson crops. It's anticipated that Dyson's hydroponic strawberries will be grown in the digestate in the future as well. The genius of this system is that Dyson's making use of every possible energy or material stream flowing out of their processes and using them as feedstock for a different one. This approach emphasizes the French anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss's idea of bricolage, the art of making do with what's available, something he popularized in 1962. They don't just throw technology at problems, they carefully adapt, reuse and...
Die fangen das CO2 beim Verbrennen ab, um das CO2 in dem Haus zu erhöhen, damit die besser wachsen. Oder ich glaube ja. Ich glaube, die packen das CO2, was entsteht beim Biogas und tun das direkt, also zumindest so sah es so aus auf dem Bild. Ja gut, die verwerten wirklich alles, ne? Also da bleibt gefühlt nichts übrig. Das ist schon crazy, ne? Das ist so ein geiles Konzept, ne?
Optimize existing resources, whether it's energy.
Wenn man sowas sieht, dann müssten wir ja eigentlich in 10, 15 Jahren alle in einem Paradies leben, oder?
Water or heat.
Also so rein theoretisch. Automatische Farmen, die viel mehr produzieren, die vollautomatisch sind. Strom, wo alles wiederverwertet wird. Dann wird mit dem Strom noch die Häuser angetrieben. Also rein theoretisch müssten wir so in 15 Jahren komplett alle keine Probleme mehr haben.
Efficient, low carbon.
Oh, die sind süß. Was ist das?
It's high-tech farming, but done with the same resourceful spirit you'd find in nature, where nothing's wasted and everything's put to use. Dyson Strawberries.
Theoretisch in der Praxis wird sich weiter durchsetzen, was am billigsten ist. Richtig, aber in 10 bis 15 Jahren wird das vielleicht am billigsten sein. Das ist ja das Ding. Das Problem ist nicht, dass sich das durchsetzt, was am billigsten ist, sondern dass sich leider Gottes das durchsetzt, wo am meisten Lobby für gemacht wird. Der einzige Grund, warum wir noch Verbrennerautos so viele fahren in Deutschland, ist, weil sich die Verbrennerlobby so stark dagegen entschieden hat. Weil Verbrennerfahren ist eigentlich nicht günstiger als E-Autofahren. Wo Lobby für meine Rente? Oh, die ist am Ackern. Ich glaube, die Lobby für deine Rente ist am Ackern, Bruder. Die Frage ist, wie lange noch? Also das Problem ist, es setzt sich nicht durch, was am günstigsten ist, sondern das, wo gerade am meisten Lobby für gemacht wird. Und das ist das Problem.
Is already on shelves at UK retailers like M&S and Ocado, selling for £3.50 per 250 grams, around £1.30 more than a typical pack from Sainsbury's. Despite this,
Gibt halt auch nicht das Ladennetz 20 Millionen E-Autos, oder? Ja, und warum nicht? Warum gibt's das nicht?
summer prices for local strawberries tend to be lower, so
Also, woran könnte es liegen, dass wir nicht Überladesäulen haben, ne? Woran könnte es liegen?
the premium that Dyson customers are paying is likely to reduce in winter. Dyson also claims its out-of-season strawberries consistently reach Brix levels, which is a measure of sweetness, above 9%. This is a quality that's typically only associated with
Vor allem auch komisch, dass China es schafft, 1,5 Milliarden E-Autos zu laden, aber wir es nicht schaffen, 80 Millionen E-Autos zu laden, ne? Aber 80 Millionen Verbrenner tanken ist kein Problem. Also es ist Schwachsinn einfach.
peak summer British fruit. This could therefore help
Und das liegt nicht daran, dass E-Autos schlechter ist, sondern dass einfach die Lobby uns gefickt hat die letzten 15 Jahre.
in the colder months justify Dyson's higher prices and help them run a viable operation. Beyond this example though, Dyson Farming's also implementing technological innovation into their more traditional open field.
Es macht mich deswegen so glücklich, sowas zu sehen. Also der Typ, der das macht, dieser Thomas Dyson oder wie er heißt, keine Ahnung, habe seinen Namen vergessen, der macht das von sich aus. Also da ist keine... Klar will der damit auch Geld verdienen, keine Frage, aber der nimmt trotzdem sein eigenes Geld, um da rein zu investieren und baut was Geiles auf. Und wenn das wirklich irgendwann mal funktioniert, dann wird es sich zwangsläufig durchsetzen, wenn es die beste Möglichkeit ist. Es dauert zwar länger, wenn Leute dagegen schießen, wenn geisteskrank viele Leute dagegen schießen, dauert es länger, aber am Ende wird es sich durchsetzen. Das Nervige ist halt, dass es länger dauert. Ne? Es dauert halt dann keine 10 Jahre, sondern halt vielleicht 25.
They use cameras on machinery to target weeds precisely, cutting herbicide use by up to 90%. These cameras also help apply natural fertilizer from their biogas plants, as we mentioned, more accurately to reduce the need for synthetic nitrogen. Moisture sensors in the soil help decide when and where to irrigate, and satellite data helps track crop and soil health.
Boah.
Even drones are used to survey fields from the air
Und das ist so satisfying.
and prevent the disruption of ground
Sind das dieselben Dyson von den Staubsaugern? Ja, das sind dieselben Dyson von den Staubsaugern.
nesting birds like marsh harriers.
Oh.
Broadly, Dyson's also working towards a long-term environmentally friendly approach to farming known as regenerative agriculture. It's a bit of a buzzword at the moment, so you might have heard about it. This means improving soil health, increasing biodiversity, and leaving the land in better condition for the future. Across their 14,000 hectares of lands, they're growing a wide variety of crops, planting trees in some fields, a method called agroforestry, and using cover crops, plants grown between main crops, to protect the soil and keep it healthy. They're also bringing sheep onto more of their lands to graze these cover crops, which helps naturally fertilise the soil and reduce the need for chemicals. Dyson's also focused on parts of their land that aren't used for produce at all. At Dunstan Beck, for example, they've renaturalised watercourses that were once straightened for farming, creating better habitats for wildlife. The return of a growing trout population is just one sign that these efforts are working. All in all,
Oh, mich machen so Bilder richtig glücklich zu sehen irgendwie, ne?
Dyson Farming actively looks after 390 kilometers of hedgerows, has restored more than 10 kilometers of dry stone walls, and manages around 12,000
Also klar, die zeigen hier nur die schönen Aspekte. Da wird es auch sicher Probleme geben und Sachen, die nicht so funktionieren, wie es sein soll. Aber Bro, das ist Wahnsinn.
trees, along with 250 kilometers of watercourses.
Geh mal raus. Ich gehe nicht drauf ein. Schlechter Wutköder. Schlechter Wutköder.
Why mention all this? Dyson Farming embodies, in my opinion, how imagination and systems thinking paired with technology can support a better future for food. Their hybrid mix of age-old regenerative principles alongside the cutting edge of farming innovation is already showing promising results for both food security and sustainability. I think it's likely to be financially beneficial as well. Compared to some modern farming startups who went all in on tech, Dyson are taking a more iterative, evidence-led approach. Take their strawberry greenhouse as an example. Dyson began in 2021 with a 15-acre glasshouse using single levels, without robotic intervention. And even their newest iteration, despite its impressive numbers, remains very much a proof of concept facility. I'd be interested to know what you guys think about Dyson's farming developments or any other similar projects you've heard of. If you like this video, you might like some of my...
Gib mir mal kurz eine Sekunde. Ich will das auf die potenzielle To-Do-Liste schreiben. Weil vielleicht drehen wir bald ein Video in London. Und was ist das auch in London? Also nicht London, in Großbritannien. Ist das auch in Großbritannien gewesen? Ja, oder?
...related to regenerative farming and other food-related topics. In the meantime, I think I'm gonna try and get my hands
Messer Review
on some robot pick strawberries. As always, I'm Luke, and this was The Upshift.
Gutes Video, Bro. Sehr stabiles Video von Luke. Time to build the Dyson Sphere. Das ist auch krass. Geiler Kommentar, den like ich noch. Auch wenn ich es nie gespielt habe. Aber vielleicht spielen wir es noch.